The first one is called All Boys Aren't Blue, and I will quote from it. I put some lube on and got him on his knees, and I began to slide into him from behind. I pulled out of him and kissed him while he masturbated. He asked me to turn over while he slipped a condom on himself. This was my ass, and I was struggling to imagine someone inside.
In this explosive clip, Senator John Kennedy takes on the radical left and their push to normalize disturbing content in schools, from sexually explicit books being marketed to children to the fight for parental rights. Kennedy does not pull any punches. Let's break it down as he dismantles the woke agenda one point at a time.
He got on top and slowly inserted himself into me. It was the worst pain I think I have ever felt in my life. Eventually, I felt a mix of pleasure with the pain, close quote. All Boys Aren't Blue. The second is another much discussed book. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's called Genderqueer. Let me read an excerpt from that. Quote, I got a new strap-on harness today. I can't wait. It will fit my favorite dildo perfectly. You're going to look so hot. I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me. Mr. Secretary, what are you asking us to do? Are you suggesting that only librarians should decide whether the two books that I just referenced should be available to kids? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Tell me what you're saying.
Well, first of all, there's this.
Don't give me a speech. Tell me what you're asking me to do.
With all due respect, Senator, and the words you spoke are disturbing, especially coming out of your mouth is very disturbing. But what I would also tell you that we're not advocating for kids to read porn, to Senator Booker's point.
What are you advocating for?
We are advocating for parents, random parents, not to have the ability, under the guise of keeping kids safe, to try and challenge the world view of every single manner on these issues.
You're getting conceptual again.
I'm not getting conceptual.
Well, yes, you are. Yes, you are. Because I want to know what you're recommending. It sounds to me like what some of you are saying, the librarians should decide who gets to see that book.
I'm saying when individual parents are allowed to make a decision of where that line is, and To Kill a Mockingbird, which involves a rape scene, should that book be pulled from our libraries? I think it becomes a slippery slope.
I think you ought to think about it a little bit more before you come here.
I've thought about it,
Senator. If you're going to propose something, you ought to be able, in 30 seconds, to be able to explain what
Senator,
you're asking us to do.
Senator,
Ms. Kelly, what do you understand? Well, let me skip you for a second. Mr. Cameron, tell me what you're proposing.
Before we proceed, let's just address this quick. Books including All Boys Aren't Blue is not educational and includes content that children are not or should not be exposed to. Would an elementary or middle school child benefit from reading this? Is it inappropriate and grotesque? Yes. I do not see how this is so complicated. How is it that this kind of content is being sold as inclusive or progressive when it's clearly inappropriate for children? It's pornography in a book. What happened to the days when books were about learning, not graphic sexual content?
It's pronounced mix.
Mix? Is that how would you like me to refer to you?
Senator, your definition of sexual is synonymous with LGBTQ identity.
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you to tell me you read those two excerpts.
Genderqueer.
Do you think that, are you asking that only librarians and not parents have any say in whether minors can read those books? Is that what you're saying?
Genderqueer has never been in my school library, so it's never been banned.
Well, suppose it was. Should it be up just to the librarian, or should parents have a say?
There should be facilitation of collaboration between students.
Should parents have a say?
Parents should be working with students and educators to be making decisions, because students are...
And who decides ultimately? The librarian, or do you take a vote, or who takes the vote?
Book review committees in the community in my school district.
You want a committee to decide?
There are committees.
Okay. Well, I'm asking you, how do we decide whether the two books that I just referenced should be available in the library? What would you, if you were running things, what would you do?
All Boys Aren't Blue, the scene you mentioned, is about sexual abuse.
I know what it's about.
It's not
What
erotic.
would you do in terms of making the books available? Would you say anybody can see them, or they have to be in a special session?
Students who do not read books like All Boys Aren't Blue cannot learn what is
I
appropriate.
understand that.
They cannot
I
learn
understand, but none
about
of you want to
abuse.
answer my question. You come here and you say censorship is bad, and of course it's bad. But the obvious response is, okay, you heard the books we're talking about. Okay, we're not talking about Catcher in the Rye. So tell me what you want, who gets to decide.
They cannot answer a question directly. They just tiptoe around the question referencing collaboration, committees, but yet cannot provide a concrete answer to Senator Kennedy's question. He is asking straightforward questions and getting jello responses.
And all I've heard is the librarians. And parents have nothing to do with it. And if that's your response, what planet did you just parachute in from?
Parents, Senator.
Or what country, more appropriately? This is not China.
Parents, Senator, for all due respect, parents absolutely have a say. My parents were immigrants, came to this country. We never checked out books without our parents seeing what books we were reading. They encouraged us to read
Mr.
books.
Secretary, I understand this is good for your politics back home.
It's got nothing to do with
but
my
I'm
politics.
not,
My bill
of
is
course
passed.
it does.
My
It
bill is
has
passed.
everything to do with your politics.
I'm here to.
But you came here with a problem, and I'm trying to understand the solution, and you don't have one.
We solved the solution.
Other than to tell us that we don't agree with you, you're on the wrong. We'll be on the wrong side of history.
We solved the problem in Illinois. We fixed it because we.
Well, there are
passed laws
others
that
you
make-
could work on.
Well, that's why
I'm
I'm
out
here
of
to help.
time.
Senator Kennedy is not holding back, and neither should we. These books have no place in our schools, and it is time we start fighting for the values that actually protect our kids. What do you think? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more bold and unapologetic content.